welcome back to my channel. My name is Rachel Waldorf. If you're new here, hello. I'm a Seattle-based vlogger. Today I'm going to give you my top tips to consider when you're moving to Seattle, Washington. Some of these tips you might be like, well duh, I'm going to consider this, but some of them you might not have thought of. So if you guys end up liking this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. It totally helps me know what kind of videos you want to see. And if you like me and what I have to offer and more videos like this, subscribe. And yeah, let's just get into the video. Okay guys, so my first tip is going to be understanding Seattle weather. So Seattle weather is extremely bipolar, and what I mean by this is 1 minute it's super sunny out, you wake up, it's great, and then the next it's raining. That happens all the time, and some people love it, some people hate it. It definitely took me a minute to get used to. It is rainy and cloudy like 7, sometimes even 8 months out of the year. So if you get seasonally depressed really easily, it might be kind of a hard place to live. But I will say this, it makes the summers and the warm weather so worth the wait. Okay, so my next thing that you should take into consideration is housing. No, Seattle isn't the most expensive place in the US to live by any means, but it's getting up there and it's definitely pricey to live here. If you've already been doing research, then you already know that it's pricey. And it's only getting more pricey every single day because the housing market right now is it's super expensive to find housing over here, which kind of sucks because a lot of people want to move over here, and having apartments and duplexes and all that stuff be expensive to rent or even buy, it makes it really hard to do that. So know that if you want to live in Seattle, it's kind of expensive to be here, so save up your money. My next tip to take into consideration is that Seattle is a very liberal city. This doesn't mean that there's no Republicans here, I'm not saying that, but it is a very blue state because of Seattle. There's so many weekends where there's protests or events and things that are going on to socially make people aware, which is so cool. And honestly, before moving to Seattle, I wasn't politically aware at all, but now being here, it's opened my eyes up to so many things. And if you are liberal and if you are wanting to really engage in political and social activities, this is a fantastic place to be. Okay, so jumping off of that, my next tip to take into consideration is that Seattle is a melting pot full of people, which in my opinion is so amazing. You don't just get one type of person when you come here, and whether that's race, ethnicity, or jobs, like everybody's kind of doing a different thing here, which is super cool. You have a lot of different cultures here, you have a lot of different job types, like for example, you have a lot of tech people, you have a lot of business people, creative people, musicians, hikers, outdoors people. You have all these different communities and cultures here, which makes it, in my opinion, an amazing place to be because you're not just, like I'm from Wisconsin, so I'm used to just white people in a place, but you have all this diversity and it's awesome and it's nice to be around and it's refreshing as. Okay, moving on. A lot of you guys know that Seattle is a very beautiful place. It has deserts, it has rainforests, well, forests, right? It has mountains, it has a lot of different things. And with that being said, it is a very lush, green area, which is beautiful and lovely. But if you have really bad allergies like I do, you might really be feeling it come springtime. This past spring, my allergies were out of control. They were so bad, and I had never experienced something like that before. So if you have really bad allergies and it affects you a lot, this might not be the best place to live. If it's not that big of a deal, if you're like, yeah, I have allergies, but it's not gonna like kill me, then don't even worry about this one. But if you have bad allergies, definitely just know that Seattle's a very lush, beautiful area, but when springtime comes, those pollens are in a tornado all around. Okay, so moving on, my next tip to take into consideration is, of course, the Seattle freeze. I feel like I had to add this in here. So if you've been following me for a while, you know that I have some opinions about the Seattle freeze, but I still hold true to it. I think it's a very true and honest thing. It's hard making friends here. If you already have a tough time making friends here, it's hard. It's really hard to do that here. You really have to put yourself out there. You have to put yourself in situations where you are able to meet new people. People are not going to come to you. People are very friendly, but very, oh my gosh, so passive aggressive. It takes time. It's not impossible to do. There's tons of people here that are friends, right? It's not possible to do. It's just a little bit harder than, in my opinion, the average place. Okay guys, moving on, my next key tip to take into consideration when moving to Seattle, Washington is that marijuana, weed, ganja, whatever, it's legal in Washington state. To some of you guys, that might be freaking awesome and you're like, I gotta get there now. Or to others, you might care about it, you might not care about it, but just know that there's weed shops all around Seattle and they're not going anywhere. So either get with it or ignore it. Honestly, you guys, it's not as big of a deal as you might think it is. If you want a video of me delving more into this topic, comment below and I will for sure do that for you. But just know that in Seattle and in Washington State, it is legal. So my next tip to take into consideration is that Seattle, Washington is so hilly and bumpy and like the roads aren't great. That's any city though, right? No, like the hills here are like not great. They're not San Francisco, okay? They're not. But if you thought that Seattle was gonna be just flat and not a ton of hills, you're wrong. There's a ton of hills in Seattle. So if you're doing a lot of walking, you're probably gonna be going up and down a ton of hills. And you're gonna wanna always make sure that your car brakes are in good shape because you're going to be using them a ton. Okay guys, so rounding out, my last tip to consider when moving to Washington is going to be to know your car situation. Know if you want to bring a car, know if you want to work here, and if you're gonna need to take public transportation, because that's a huge thing. I feel like people DM me on Instagram all the time and they're like, should I bring my car to Seattle? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, what is your work situation? You know, do you need a car? Do you go somewhere every weekend? Do you go on hikes every weekend? Like, why do you want a car here? Because if you don't need a car here, and if you're just like, man, I want to move there, but like, I don't have all the money in the world, should I bring my car? If you're living in the city and you're working in the city, you do not need a car. I feel like half the people I know here don't even own a car. Just find a friend that likes to do adventures and stuff. Go take hikes with them. Use their car. It's 100% not necessary to have a car. Is it nice to have a car? Oh yeah, it's super nice to have a car. But if you're working in the city, you're living in the city, you don't really need one. The public transportation systems here are really good. They're improving every day. They're adding more link light rails. Their buses are getting better, and I think that overall it's a pretty good system that they have. So learn it, understand it, and you're gonna be honestly more than fine. Okay guys, that kind of rounds out my top tips to consider when moving to Seattle, Washington. If I missed any, let me know, comment them below. I'm always curious to know, especially from people that have been here for longer than 2 years, what kind of things people need to consider when moving here, because I'm sure there's a lot more. If you guys ended up liking this video, please give it a thumbs up. It just lets me know what kind of videos you want to see. Anyways guys, I hope you have a beautiful day or evening wherever you are. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Okay, bye!